Good morning. I'm Felicia Melelli, Board Chair for New Jersey Public Health Innovation Political Action Committee. Whether you're tuning in for the first time or you're a returning viewer, welcome. I'm excited to guide you through this important conversation today. The PAC was created to provide a platform for New Jersey voters to meet vetted and qualified candidates, as well as health freedom advocates. NJ5 PAC acts as a bridge from health freedom candidates to New Jersey voters, allowing you to hear directly from candidates their positions on mission-centered topics like informed consent, health freedom, and parental rights, and in the case of federal DC candidates, preserving American sovereignty. Our ultimate goal is to enhance the quality, transparency, and mechanisms that deliver the highest standards for health for you and your families, and consequently, rid the state of any lawmaker who does not align with that goal. Public health cannot be a one-size-fits-all approach. It is the collective outcome of the personal health of every individual, every man, woman, and child in our community. When our elected officials prioritize and respect the health of each person, they foster a healthier community for all of us. For those who've been following us and our work, we hope you recognize our unwavering commitment to empowering you, our community, by keeping you informed about health freedom candidates running to represent New Jersey, as well as keeping you abreast of the latest threats, bills, and successes in the fight for freedom, both statewide and nationwide. We aim to arm you with knowledge, resources, and tools so that you are empowered to advocate for yourself and your families. Together, we can work to steer our state back on track, ensuring that our voices are not only heard, but respected. So let us stand united in this vital mission, advocating for our rights and ensuring that health sovereignty remains a fundamental aspect of our lives. Thank you for being here. And before we dive into today's discussion and introduce our special guest, let me remind you that to please visit our website, NJPHIPAC.org, and consider a contribution. 100% of our contributions goes to meeting with candidates and electioneering in key strategic elections. So now I'm going to hand you off to Melanie Dragon to introduce our guest. Hey, Mel. Oh, you're muted. I can't hear you, Mel. Oh, there you are.
There we go. Okay. Good morning. Sorry, I'm having some technical difficulties this morning. It's so nice to be here, and I'm so excited to be introducing our next congressional candidate. I have the pleasure of introducing the Republican congressional candidate for the 5th District of New Jersey, Mary Jo Guinchard. Welcome, Mary Jo, and thank you for joining us and our viewers today. On behalf of the PAC board, we want to extend our congratulations on your NJ5 PAC endorsement, and thank you for outwardly taking a stand on this important issue surrounding health freedom and parental rights here in New Jersey. For those unfamiliar with the parameters of Congressional District 5, this district includes Bergen County, Passaic County, and Sussex County. Hi, Mary Jo, welcome.
Hi, everybody. Thank you so much for inviting me. Also, I am honored and humbled to be endorsed by NJ5 PAC. It's obviously a very big passion for me as well, and the work that you are doing. We all cannot thank you enough. Cannot thank you enough.
Well, we're so happy to have you here. We're excited to introduce you to all of our viewers, and we're just going to start and hand the mic over to you. So can you tell us a little bit about yourself personally, who you are outside of politics? Let's start there.
Outside of politics, I am a mother. I am a very proud grandmother to 2 beautiful little boys, and I have 3 phenomenal children. My husband is my rock as well. You know, you can't be doing, anything in life without just a great family support. And I'm very blessed to have that as well. I originally come from Dallas, Texas, live in New Jersey, Ridgewood, New Jersey. And my former life, I was an actress, a singer. I still sing. I cantor at my church. I had an amazing career, went professional when I was 19, got involved. I would guess you could call it in the, negotiating and the problem solving in the theater, because I would become what's called the deputy in the theater to make sure that that curtain went up every night. And if there were any issues, problems, you would help, navigate that between the production staff and the cast. Did that for decades. And when I moved to, the East Coast, very young in my career, it was something that was just passionate, the problem solving, wanting everyone to feel that their voice was being heard. So here we are today in running for Congress, and that's what I still go by, the family values that I grew up with. We did not have the challenges growing up that we are seeing today, and that's really why I'm running. I want my children and grandchildren and everyone else's to have that freedom that we had without being canceled, having that conversation. So here I am to make sure that your message, our message, America, we stay strong.
I love that. So do you have any life experiences or personal testimonies that you can share with us that shaped your position regarding health freedom and parental rights?
Actually, I do just recently. My husband, who has been the picture of health always, we all were subject to having, unfortunately, some of us took that COVID vax. We were having a family member that was passing and we needed to travel abroad. So we all did that. And all of a sudden, issues started cropping up with my husband. And they really were related to being vaccinated with that. And obviously, it's allegedly, as we all know, they're trying to say that isn't, but we're seeing it in many children. We're seeing it also in the cases of a lot of children are now having heart issues that have never had heart issues that were vaccinated. This scares me terribly. When I was a child, I got 5 vaccinations, 5. And they were not being forced per se on us as they were. And they were vetted correctly. They were studied for years and years before they were done. Some had issues and it was known. We weren't in this being fear world that we are today, forcing people, mandating, locking us up, doing the things that are taking away our freedoms. This is between a doctor and a parent to be able to decide what they want. So, we have felt that health issue. And I was very, very blessed to have met Dr. McCullough last year when y'all were having your big event. And we sat down. Dr. McCullough is from Dallas, Texas, where I'm from as well. And we sat and talked about what my husband was going through. And, he gave us really his expertise of what he's been studying and seeing. And thank goodness that we have doctors like him and individuals like yourself that are taking this message and making sure we are being given great, solid information. Because what's happening is our world is politicizing and weaponizing everything we're hearing. That's what I don't like. It used to be that we could trust the media. We could trust information that we were being told by our politicians. And I say politicians because they're career politicians. They're not advocates for us anymore. We have taken humanity and we've become not the primary, goal for them to preserve and make sure that we are in their best interest. We're almost invisible. I don't like that. I don't like that we are putting children on the side. We're putting human lives on the side. So that was my experience. And I've had nieces that have had issues. I mean, I could go on and on. I think every person, if they're really going to be honest with themselves, we've all been touched by being forced to do things that we should not be being forced to do.
Wow. Well, thank you for sharing that personal story. you know, definitely come from that perspective that, you know, as a PAC, that we just want to be able to maintain the right to decide. You know, you
Right.
in that situation felt like this was the right decision for us, although, you know, like you said, there wasn't true informed consent around it and everything else, and people were being pushed to make those tough decisions without even knowing
Right.
what was happening, and it was coercion in many
Right.
senses, or discrimination in other senses. And you know, we're going on what, 4 or 5 years now since COVID, and we're all still troubled by the decisions that were made at large from our government. So that actually is a big segue into my next question for you, because you know, our viewers, many who are advocates themselves and pay close attention to issues of health freedom in our state and nationally, we almost daily see threats on a state and global level. I mean, you can't pick up your phones and your social media without just seeing not only just the threats, but the ailments that people are having, right, from the decisions that were made to force vaccinate. So you know, threats are also exploding new viruses that we hear. We hear about tightening of the pandemic preparedness tactics, again, both nationally on a state level. How do you view the government's role in personal health decisions? I mean, you did elaborate a little bit on that, but can you elaborate further on a global level? What limits do you believe should be placed on government intervention in health matters?
I don't think the government should be in the doctor's office with us. Very simple. They don't know a person's medical history. They don't know their emotional history. And that's something that's very private between the doctor and the patient. I'm actually in shock that there's laws. I mean, obviously federally we don't deal with what's going on in the states, but guess what? We're the constituent too, right? We are equally affected by what all of these laws are being passed to do. You're removing the child from the parent when they go to the doctor's office. So they get to discuss with that child, the parent, if they're not being given permission by the child to be in that doctor's office with them. And I think that starts at around, I want to say 11, 12. I don't know the exact, I don't have the exact law in place, but many parents don't know that the laws are as regulated for, you know, that relationship. So when I'm on the campaign trail discussing with them, this is what's happened. You know, your child has to have their own email address. They have to give you permission to be able to know anything going on with them in the doctor's office. And they're actually a little surprised and go, oh, no, that doesn't exist. Well, it does. And we show them. We have a new assemblyman right now that has been elected, thank goodness, as a doctor that lives in one of our districts here in CD5. He's there fighting for us. Who better knows than a doctor to know what that relationship needs to be, what needs to be going on, where government needs to stand in that doctor's office. They don't need to be in that doctor's office. We're the ones that know what's best for our children. We know what's best for ourselves. And if something goes awry and it has to do with laws that possibly deals with, that's another discussion. But when it becomes about vaccinating, about what decisions you're making for your own personal health with your doctor, you're trying to navigate those waters. How can government know what to do with hundreds of millions of people in a country? They can't. They need to worry about keeping us safe. They need to worry about shutting down our borders. And they need to worry about us being able to afford to pay for our health insurance. They don't need to be making our medical decisions.
Absolutely.
I feel very strong about that.
Yeah, and we appreciate that perspective, because a one size fits all medicine in 2024 is really an antiquated perspective. And we want people to be thinking about their own family histories, as well as, you know, previous adverse events from medical interventions that would affect their child's experience as a patient.
Exactly.
So,
And what about the trust factor? That's something I've been hearing on the campaign trail. Parents are very concerned that they can't trust anymore a lot of things. How do we know what's in that vial of medicine? And that's something that I think about now. I don't want anything going in my arm right now. I want my body to work for itself. And I think we've been vaccinated so much for the fear, that mandate, that fear they put on us. You couldn't go see your loved one. You wouldn't be able to travel to go see them. That's not why you should be going to the doctor and making a discussion with the doctor. It wasn't a discussion. It was, you have to do this. That's not what we go to doctors for. We go to doctors so we don't have fear, right? That we're going to get better and have that hope.
yes. So this leads us to my next question. There's a brand new bill that was introduced recently in Congress. It's HR 5828, and it's to amend the Public Health Service Act to end the liability shield for vaccine manufacturers and allow Americans who may be injured or somehow affected by a vaccine to have their day in court once again. This bill would make it easier for injured citizens to seek justice. It would remove the 2 to 3 year statute of limitations for lawsuits against vaccine makers and actually allow litigation for anyone who has been injured since the 1986 Act stopped the lawsuits. This bill would remove protections for COVID vaccines under the Countermeasures Injury Compensation Program. Is this a bill that you would support when you become a congresswoman?
They're always liable. So they cannot be all of a sudden free to do whatever they want and cause harm. So I will always support that those pharmaceuticals, those companies have to be held liable. Why are we once again making us, the patients, we're becoming the victim? We're becoming the victim. If the vaccine is proven and it's so good, why are they worried about not being held liable? That would be my question, right?
That's the perfect question. Absolutely, 100%. Another recent bill that we helped leverage a call to action for here in the state of New Jersey would make it an easy way for federally qualified school-based healthcare centers to be on school properties. This is far from comforting for New Jersey parents. As we know, the federal government has a poor track record in establishing healthcare when $4.5 trillion a year is spent for what I would more accurately describe as sick care. Parents view these school-based healthcare clinics as just another attempt to access their children without consent of their parents. How do you intend to protect parental rights, especially when it comes to healthcare decisions for New Jersey families?
Once again, government has to stay out of the doctor's office. And putting in these, I call them pop-up clinics, if we want to call them that, that's very scary. How far are we going to allow the government to come into? Now they're in our doctor's offices, living rooms. This has to end. When I spoke at, something to do my testimony regarding children's rights and parental rights, I told them they were not in the delivery room with me when I gave birth, and I don't want them in my delivery room ever. I don't want them in my living room. Once again, take care of what you're supposed to be taking care of. This is where we've lost our way. We're just trying to tell everybody what to do. You can't do that. How about they take care of crime and make sure we're safe?
Yes.
Let us decide what we need to do with the doctor. And you know what? If the doctor messes up, guess what? There is something in place that we can take care of that as our right, not the government telling us, correct?
Absolutely.
So I am very afraid of government they're going too far. They're just going too far.
Yeah. And because of that liability shield that currently exists, the pipeline for vaccines is so large. You know, we
Right.
saw a big jump in 1986 once it was enacted, and then and now, you know, there's probably double that in the pipeline, which is just not necessary. Let's talk about what does provide our body with actual immunity, and that's, you know,
Right.
taking supplementation, healthy foods, having access to those things. You know, those are all things that are really important to us, you know, on the PAC, is just making sure that we're supporting people that have that type of outlook. So
Exactly.
I really thank you and appreciate your stand on everything. It's totally aligned with us and gives total justification for our endorsement and all the support that you've lended to this topic. I wanted to just pivot a little bit and talk about this election. You know, the people watching, your community, your constituents definitely want to know more about what's going on in your district with the campaign. Any events or ways our viewers can support you, if you want to just elaborate on that.
Sure. First of all, we're a heavy boots on the ground, grassroots. We are out in the field every day. We're door knocking, we're calling, we're meeting privately with big groups. We're saving America at this point. I cannot stress to your viewers, you all know what's at stake here. This is a very unusual election, and it's sad that we have gotten here. But sometimes you have to see the evils that surround you to know that you can't sit by anymore and be silent. The silence is deafening, but I can tell you in CD5, the energy and the momentum that's going on, people are understanding what's at risk. There are things on the ballot right now that should not be on the ballot. One of the things that we're talking about right now, our freedom of choice, our freedom to decide what we want to do between doctors and government. Government should not be involved in those decisions. They should be focused on the most important factors that are happening right now. Take care of our border, shut it down, make it secure the way it is, because you can't travel anywhere in the world without appropriate documentation. Make our streets safe, give our police officers their right to make us safe as well. They're the criminals and not the criminals. This is not how the world is supposed to work. And then secondly, be able to afford to go to the doctor, to have the jobs that you want, to be able to put the gas in the car, buy the good food that you want to have, or, you know, grow your own, you know, go and get the seeds and the plants that you want to do. I love gardening. So I grow my herbs. I haven't had the chance to grow tomatoes this year, but my other children have been doing so, which I've enjoyed that. But these are the important factors. We're having a couple of events happening very soon.
Perfect.
We've had many town halls. One of the town halls we'll be doing is with CD9 Billy Prempa. That is going on the 24th. It's going to be in Mahwah. I'll share that with you, Felicia and Melanie, so you can, you know, post that if you want to, or send that out. It's going to be wonderful because, unfortunately, my opponent, who is not for all the things that we're talking about right now, he votes against everything. He will not debate me. So this will be an opportunity so you can talk to me or hear what I have to say also, or ask me questions. He has not responded at all to many of the radios, to the League of Women Voters. I think that's just a tragedy not to hear, you know, let your constituents hear what you stand.
Just to be clear to our community, he's never responded to any of our,
Never,
you know,
never
as a PAC,
responded.
we do reach, we are a nonpartisan PAC, so we reach and try to connect with all the candidates on both sides of the aisle. And now this is our second congressional race with no response from your opponent.
Right. So that's the same. And we've also just, you know, reached out to him from a campaign to say, we know you've got this. We would love to be able to. And if he doesn't want to call it a debate, let's call it a conversation and get together and talk about our views and where we line up and where we don't line up. Give the constituents that opportunity to do so. And then another event we're going to be having, a karaoke event. It's a fundraiser That's going to be this Saturday evening. I'll send you the information. The address will be released. If you RSVP to that, it's going to be wonderful and fun. We'll have a couple of little speeches, but not too much. We really want to just have everyone be able to have an
That's so
opportunity
fun.
to have fun, and also a one-on-one. If they want to sit down and chat, you give that time frame, and also the lightness of being able to have that environment to do so, where it's not just so in a box where it's the candidate is on a stage and the audience is there, but to be able to mix and mingle, and also to talk to other individuals that are supporting the campaign so they can hear why they're supporting as well. So that's going to be really fun. They can also go to my website and see the travels I've done, learn more about me. They can ask questions there as well. It's maryjoforcongress.com, and it's all spelled out, MARYJOFOR Congress.com. It's important. It's all about America. This is where, I'm very focused. Hearing from the CD5 constituents, they're concerned about all the things that y'all are speaking about. They want to be able to have common sense. It's not that difficult to fix all the things that we need to fix. And I'm there to commit 100%. My opponent's going to be running for a higher office. He's going to be jumping immediately after this election is over and throwing in his point to do so, even though he's running a ghost campaign at this time for that higher office. You've got my full commitment, and I'm going to be fighting for you in DC. You're going to have a seat at my table. We are all in this together, and without all of us doing it together, we're not going to get to where we have to be. That's the important thing. It takes all of us. It takes all of us.
So it does. And we'd love to give our viewers a sense of what you stand for and what you would advocate for as a representative. I know you touched on the health freedom, but what will be your number one priority, or on your number one priority list when you take office?
When I take office, I feel that we really need to secure our country, support our president that gets in. We have a lot of work to do. The border is a crisis. There's a fentanyl crisis. There is a trafficking crisis. That border is wide open. I've been to the border twice. I'm originally, like I said, from Dallas, Texas, so I'm familiar with the border. It's not acceptable what's going on. It's unsustainable what's going on. There are tens of millions of people who are getting, by the way, free health care. We've never done that with our seniors, our veterans, our homeless. During COVID, when people were losing their jobs and they were having very difficult times, we did not open our checkbook the way it is. We have a crisis right now going on in North Carolina, people that are needing medical assistance, care from the hurricane. We don't have enough funding to do what we're doing. And thank goodness we have such a giving and loving country with organizations that are going in there, rolling up their sleeves, boots on the ground, doing everything they can. I am going to be there advocating for you. I'm not a career politician by no means. I had a completely different career. I don't have to do this. I want to do this. I want to be there for our children, our grandchildren, our constituents. It's so important. And that open border is a domino to everything. It's a domino to everything, to health, to our financials, to our safe and security. That's why for me, it's number one to make sure that we get that taken care of.
Yeah. Thank you. Mel?
Yep. So Mary Jo, now we're just going to get a little more intimate, up close and personal, and pivot for a minute. We have a couple of quick fire questions for you.
Okay.
Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Can you tell us what your first car was?
My first car was a Ford Granada, and it was baby blue. I don't know if people know what a Granada is.
I don't know. I have to look
it was a great car, and I loved it. I was very proud of it, and that was my first car, baby blue Ford Granada.
Awesome.
What is your favorite way to spend the weekend?
My favorite way to spend the weekend right now, or without being political?
No. in real life, not
I
political.
I love to garden, and growing up, my mother had a really beautiful rose garden. And of course, we had a great big dog who also loved the rose garden. So we won't talk about how that story ended. But I grew up, really liking to play in the dirt per se. And I did a role called Secret Garden. And I really dove into the role because it was about the garden and coming back through the beauty of all of that. So I really got invested into gardening much more than I had been. And I had been gardening with my children. We would do the pumpkin patches and grow the tomatoes and the cucumbers. But doing that role for some reason ignited something really deep within me. And it's my time. It's my time to be in touch with the soil and to get really grounded. And it's peaceful. It's quiet. I talk to my flowers. I talk to the vegetables. I talk to the plants. And there's just something that is very just fulfilling. And I pray in the garden. I know that may sound a little silly to some, but it's my moment to really reconnect. And it's just fabulous. It's fabulous. I love it. You see what you've done and it's growing and you can trim it. And it's just gratifying. I love it.
We all need a little balance like that, right?
It's a good balance, and I do it in the rain sometimes, but don't tell everybody I do that. I have a good little hat and a poncho and I go out, just a mist, not a heavy rain, but it's good. It's good.
Connecting with the earth can kind of change perspective sometimes.
It does. Right. It's just raw. It's raw.
All right. The next question is, what's your preference, tea or coffee?
Tea. Coffee, I don't drink. I'm probably one of the very few people that don't drink coffee. I love a good herbal tea. I'll tell you, the best tea, cut some herbs out of your garden and, chop them up, put them in a ball or just leave them whole, boil some water, let that sit there and brew. And it's a great tea. Mint, sage. It's awesome.
Awesome.
Love that. Can you tell us someone that you look up to?
Someone that I look up to. I look up to my husband. I really look up to my husband, and I'll tell you why. He's so grounded, well-rounded, giving. He looks at life with such a clear lens perspective. He always looks in the good of everyone, and it's a great balance. It's a great balance. I know at the end of the day, when I've had a tough day, he's there to say, come on, let's look at it this way. And our kids, he's just been such a great dad. A great friend. I married my best friend. And it's just the best. It's the best.
I love that. It's priceless indeed. What is one thing on your bucket list?
One thing on my bucket list. Oh my goodness. I love to travel. I really love to travel. And I have not been to certain places. I have not been to Jerusalem. I would love to go there. I would love to go to the pyramids in Egypt and just see that, that part of history that we've read about. And we've traveled so much. I love to travel, but those are a couple of the places I have not been to. My mother-in-law had gone to them and has said they were just incredible. I'd love to ride a camel. Haven't done that. So just see the couple of places I have not been to yet.
Great. Well, thank you so much for sharing all of that intimate information with us. It really helps our viewers to understand who you are and to understand who you are outside of the political realm. So lastly, we always like to ask our candidates that we endorse, what does health freedom mean to you?
Everything. It's our health. You know what? Money can't buy your health. It can buy your dresses you wear, the makeup you put on, or the piece of furniture you sit on. But this is your health we're talking about. My health, my children's health. If we lose that, we have nothing. No one has the right to tell me when I go to the doctor, I must do X. No, that's putting fear. So that what you're doing is so vitally important. I cannot thank you enough for coming into our lives and in educating us and exposing us to knowing that we can, look at things and understand them without it being skewed, and there's no fear. You're allowing everyone to read and understand on their terms. That is so vitally important. And I hope everyone understands that health is not something you can buy. It's something that you should control yourself and what you do with your body.
Absolutely. So Mary Jo, before we let you run, can you please share with us any way that our viewers can help support you and any final words that you have that you want to share?
Well, the way you can support, we have 20 days left to the election. Can you believe it? We're there. We are in the stretch, and we're still pushing out our messages. So if they want to support, whether it's $1, $5, $10, you can go to the website, maryjoforcongress.com. You can donate. Or if you want to do phone banking, or if you want to be an ambassador spreading our word, give us a call. We'll give you ways of doing so. There's door knocking, or just getting everyone to come out and vote. There's a lot on the line. So anything is possible to help with an election. So feel free to reach out to us. Everything is on our website and on our social media to do so. The message I want to leave today is we've got this. God has got this. I truly, truly believe that. People are praying around the world. They believe we're not going to lose our country. We're just not. When we have organizations like NJ5 PAC and great candidates that are running, we are going to prevail. We are going to prevail. Don't let fear take you down a path. No, not acceptable. I'm not going to let you do it. I'll come to your door and I'll come cheer you on. We are going to win these elections. We are going to make sure that we are your advocate, not your paid politician that is just making money doing that. That's not what this is meant to do. We serve you. We serve you.
Thank you so much for sharing with our audience who you are and what you stand for. It is so important that NJ5 PAC be the bridge from candidates like yourself to our community to help them understand who they need to vote for in November.
Well, I cannot thank you enough for having me on. Both of you, you're doing such amazing work. I expect you to be in my office in DC to help so I can advocate and do all the things that we need to do. That's so important that we're all there together. This is, like I said, we're all a team. We're all a team.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thanks for being with us today.
Thank you so much. And we'll see you on election day.
Okay. All right. Well, I think it's important to note, as Mary Jo mentioned, the election is November 5th, but right, Melanie, they can start voting as soon as now with the mail-in ballots, making sure that you return them at their secure locations. We've put up some social media information about that, where you can get the links to those secure drop boxes. There's also early voting that begins at select county locations. So it's not at your typical place that you would go vote, polling location. It's at a county identified location. So they're a little bit more sparse, but you can do that starting October 26th. And that goes until November 3rd. November 4th, there's no voting. And then November 5th is election day. And in order to help really see some change in representation in Washington, you really need to get out to vote. We need to remind our friends to vote. And we just need to make flood the polls, make it irrefutable. It can happen. There are a lot of people who want to see change when this issue changes and other issues, and it can happen. So, well, there you have it, folks. That's NJ5 PAC's Meet the Candidate interview with endorsed congressional candidate of District 5, Mary Jo Guinchard. We hope it's clear by now why NJ5 PAC has decided to endorse Mary Jo in the upcoming general election this November 5th. And if you reside in District 5 or you have friends or families that do, please spread the word on how important it is to support Mary Jo's election. We thank you all for staying dialed in. It is not only advantageous, but imperative to have strong representation for New Jersey and our country. Our future and our children's lives depend on it. Please, once again, visit our website and consider a contribution. 100% of our contribution goes to meeting, elevating, and supporting candidates and incumbents for the greater good of health freedom for our families and loved ones and yours. NJ5 PAC is a nonprofit, nonpartisan New Jersey State Political Action Committee. We are an organization made up of deeply committed and experienced advocates across a myriad of professional backgrounds who formed this PAC with one mission: to protect and strengthen the constitutionally guaranteed and fundamental rights of all New Jersey residents to make medical decisions for themselves and their families without coercion or undue constraint. Our primary goal in forming NJ5 PAC is to give the power back to the people of New Jersey by elevating political candidates and influencers who will help or hurt that mission. Our endorsement process was developed with a set of standards and integrity. Every endorsement we make requires a minimum that candidates complete and submit the NJ5 PAC survey and participate in an in-depth interview with the board of directors. Other factors and considerations are prior voting records of the candidates and their public positions or statements on matters that affect our mission. Ultimately, the NJ5 PAC standards are to endorse candidates with transparency, integrity, and measurement without bias. To be an integral source to New Jersey voters in this 2024 election year, our aim is to guide you to where your votes are warranted. The 2024 congressional race in New Jersey is an opportunity for you, New Jersey voters, to ensure health freedom and parental rights is represented and respected statewide and nationally. So thank you for tuning in today, and we'll be on again soon with Billy Prempe of District 9.